Before we get into today's file, I just want to stop and say thank you. I've been reading the comments, I've seen the messages. The way you guys have embraced these POV stories, these off-record missions, it's been incredible. You're not just watching a video, you're stepping into a world that officially doesn't exist. If we're going to keep uncovering these truths, I need you with me. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. Let's take this channel and these stories to the next level together. Now, let's talk about today. In my first 2 podcasts, I had guests, men who served, men who saw things. You heard the stories directly from them. But today, the chair is empty. And it's empty for a reason. The man I was supposed to interview today, technically, he died 10 years ago. His family has a grave to visit. His name is on a memorial wall. But he's alive. Confusing, right? Trust me, I was just as confused when I first got the encrypted file. But then I heard his story, and honestly, I was shocked. I didn't just hear it, I felt it, like it was happening to me. Today, I'm going to tell you his story. But I want you to do me a favor. Don't just listen, feel it. Imagine it's your name being erased. Imagine it's your life that becomes a deniable asset. Because when you realize that this could happen to anyone, that's when the real chill sets in. If this was you, what would you do? Let's go off record.
You're looking at your own death certificate, your name, your date of birth, your service number, all of it on an official government document, signed, stamped, filed. They declared you dead on a Tuesday. Your wife cried. Your kids stood at a graveside. Your commanding officer gave a eulogy about sacrifice and honor. And you were in a white room, 300 feet underground, watching it all on a monitor. Not dead, not free, just erased. And the man standing behind you in a gray suit said 7 words that changed everything. You're more valuable to us alive. This is that story. Let's go back. 6 months ago, you were living a life that made sense. Small house, quiet street, 2 kids, a boy, 7, and a girl, 5. Her name was Lila. She had just learned to say Baba properly, the way it was supposed to sound, not like a baby anymore, like she meant it. Your wife, Sarah, she packed your bag every deployment, never cried until your car turned the corner. Then she let herself. You knew this because your neighbor told you once. You never told Sarah you knew. Some things you keep. You were a special operations team leader, 12 years in, deployments you can't name and countries that officially never happened. Your unit didn't have a public-facing designation. If someone asked what you did, you said logistics. The men in your unit, 5 of them, were the only people on Earth who knew the real answer. Bravo, Santos, Khoury, Reese, and Miller. Your team, your brothers. The mission that ended everything came in on a Thursday at 0200 hours. Eyes-only briefing. Burn after reading. Target, a scientist, Eastern European, working on something biological, the kind of biological that doesn't have a public name yet. He had made contact, was ready to defect, but the window was closing. 48 hours. In and out. Standard extraction. Your unit had done harder things before breakfast. You kissed Lila on the forehead. She didn't wake up. You left. You didn't know that was the last time you'd touch her for over a year. Insertion was clean. No contact, no heat signatures. The kind of quiet that feels wrong. Bravo said it first over comms. Too quiet, boss. You felt it too. But the mission clock was moving. You pushed forward. The extraction point was a farmhouse 4 kilometers inside the border. According to intelligence, the scientist was already there, waiting. According to intelligence. You were 200 meters out when Santos's laser sight picked up movement. Not random movement, tactical movement. Flanking positions, professionals. Contact left. The radio cut to static. Not interference, jamming. Someone had killed your comms deliberately. The first shot came from your 6. Your 6. That meant whoever was shooting, they were already behind you, already inside your perimeter. Santos went down in the first 30 seconds. Not enemy fire, precision, calculated. You pulled behind a concrete wall, an old irrigation structure, barely chest high. Khoury was with you. Reese was firing from a ditch to your left. Bravo was gone. You didn't know where. And then you saw it. Through the smoke, through the chaos, a vehicle 60 meters to the north. Government issued. Your government. The markings were obscured, but the chassis, you'd ridden in that exact model 100 times. The antenna configuration, the run-flat tires. This wasn't enemy contact. This was something else. Khoury! He looked at you. He'd seen it too. What the... The explosion happened before he finished the sentence. You don't remember the sound. You remember the sensation. Weightless, suddenly, like gravity forgot about you for 2 seconds. Then the ground came back. Hard. The last thing you thought about was Lila's voice. Baba. Not like a baby, like she meant it. You woke up not knowing how many days had passed. Your body told you more than a few. There were stitches in your side that you didn't remember getting, an IV in your left arm. Your legs worked. You tested that before you opened your eyes fully. Old habit. The room had no windows, no clock. The temperature was controlled, that specific clinical cold that only exists in places that don't want you to know where you are. A man sat in the corner. Gray suit, no tie, no military rank, no insignia of any kind. He was reading a folder. He didn't look up when you moved. Where am I? He turned a page. You're somewhere safe. My team. Gone. One word, no emotion, like he was reporting weather. You sat up, the IV pulled. You didn't care. Gone as in no longer your concern. He finally looked up, put the folder down, stood. Your unit was listed as killed in action during a training exercise. There were no survivors. That is the official record. That's a lie. Yes, it is. He crossed the room and placed a document on the bed beside you. You picked it up. Your name, your photograph, deceased, date, redacted, cause, training accident, details, classified. Your wife had already been notified. Your children had already attended a service. Your country had already moved on. And you were sitting in a white room underground, holding proof that you no longer existed. What do you want from me? You asked. The gray suit man almost smiled. We'll get to that. The truth starts to leak. A door with no handle on the inside. Her name, or the name she gave you, was Meridian. She came on day 4. No gray suit, black tactical clothing, no rank, no introduction. She sat across from you like she'd known you for years and said, You have questions. I'll answer 3. Choose carefully. You chose carefully. Why am I alive? Because you're useful. What happened to my team? She paused, looked at something behind your left shoulder for just a second. They weren't supposed to be there. That's all I can tell you. And my family? Protected, as long as you cooperate. As long as I cooperate. You repeated it back to her so she could hear how it sounded. She didn't flinch. You were exposed during the mission, she said finally. There was a compound at the extraction site, aerosolized. Your team got the full dose. You got a partial, because you were furthest from the point of detonation. Exposed to what? Something with no public name yet. Something that is currently untreatable, universally fatal, except in your case, your immune system did something our scientists have never seen before. She slid a folder across the table. Lab results, your blood work, graphs and charts that meant nothing to you, but apparently meant everything to them. So I'm a lab rat. You're a living vaccine, she corrected. There's a difference. Not from where I'm sitting. She stood up.
You're going to be given an assignment, a target. You'll be given everything you need to complete it. When it's done, you come back. That's the arrangement. And if I say no? She was at the door now. Your daughter's school, Riverside Elementary. She walks home on Thursdays, third house from the left from the corner. She left. You sat in silence for a long time. They knew everything. The first assignment came the next day. A photograph, a name, or the beginning of one. The rest was blacked out. A location, a time window, 48 hours. The same window they'd given you for the mission that killed your team. You noticed that. You didn't say anything. You took the file, because some choices aren't choices at all. Missions 2 and 3 passed like bad dreams. Clean, efficient, no survivors who could talk. You did what you were told, but you were paying attention. Every facility has patterns, schedules. The CCTV dead zone in Corridor C lasted 11 seconds during the shift rotation at 300 hours. The guard on the East Wing took 4 minutes longer on rounds on Wednesdays because he stopped to make coffee. You mapped every detail, and by Mission 4, you understood something that changed everything. Every target had been government-connected, not foreign government, your government. Bureaucrats, scientists, low-level analysts, people who knew things, people who were being cleaned up. And one day, when you had learned enough, you were going to be on that list too. You moved on a Wednesday, 300 hours, coffee guard, 11-second window. You neutralized the guard before he reached the corridor. Pressure point, clean, no damage. He'd wake up with a headache and no memory of the last 10 seconds. Out through Corridor C, through a maintenance shaft, into an access tunnel that the facility blueprints, which you'd memorized from a file 3 weeks earlier, showed led to an external ventilation structure. Cold air hit you like a wall. Outside. You were actually outside. Trees, dark sky, no city lights. You were remote, at least 50 kilometers from the nearest population center. You ran. You heard the helicopter at the 4-minute mark. They were faster than you had calculated. Meridian's voice came through an earpiece you didn't know you were wearing. Run. I want to see how far you get. She'd known. She'd let you try. The dogs came from the east, drones from above. You could hear the rotors, high-pitched, fast.
You went in, 4 minutes underwater, holding on to a submerged root, eyes open in the darkness, lungs burning. You thought about Lila, not about escaping, not about your next move, just her face, the way she said Baba, the way she smelled like soap and crayons. You surfaced when you couldn't hold it anymore. 3 operators were standing on the bank 10 meters downstream, waiting. Meridian was at the facility entrance when they brought you back. She didn't look angry. She looked almost satisfied. Good, she said. Now we know your limits. You knew I'd run. I hoped you would. I needed to see your problem-solving under pressure. She handed you a towel. You lasted longer than the last one. Last one? You stared at her. She walked away. Last one. They put you in isolation for 72 hours. No contact, minimal food, water. Just you and the walls and the sound of your own breathing. By hour 40, you stopped counting. You thought about things you hadn't let yourself think about since the White Room. Lila's first day of school, you'd missed it. You were deployed. Sarah had sent a photo. Lila in a blue dress, gap-toothed smile, backpack bigger than her torso. You'd kept that photo in your kit for 4 months. It burned in the explosion. Did your son still remember your voice? He was 7 when you left, old enough to remember, but children adapt. They fill gaps. Maybe Sarah told him something that helped. Maybe he had moved on in the way children do, efficient and devastating, replacing you with the concept of you, a father-shaped absence. Was Sarah okay? You hoped she had found something, some version of forward. You didn't want her to grieve forever, but you also, quietly, selfishly, hoped she hadn't. You hadn't let yourself think it before. You thought it now. And then the door opened. Not Meridian, an older man, military-bearing but civilian clothes, the kind of posture that comes from 30 years of uniform and never fully leaves. He sat across from you and folded his hands. "You think we're monsters," he said. You didn't answer. "The first target, the one in Brussels." He paused. He had contaminated the water supply of a city of 400,000 people. Not an attack, a test, to see if his formula was deployment ready. No one reported that. No, they didn't. He met your eyes. Courts couldn't touch him. His government was protecting him. Every conventional channel closed. He was going to test it again on a larger population within 6 months. That doesn't justify— No, he agreed. It doesn't justify what we did to you, what we took from you. He stood up slowly. But I need you to understand, the things you've done in these rooms, they mattered, every single one. He left without another word. You sat in the dark for a long time. It didn't fix anything, but something shifted. Some small, terrible part of you understood, and that, understanding them, felt like the worst betrayal of all. Meridian came to you 3 days later, not for a mission briefing. She sat down like a person, not a handler. That was the first time she'd done that. "I'm going to tell you something that isn't in any file," she said. You waited. "The exposure at the extraction site wasn't an accident." "I know." "You don't know all of it." She exhaled. "The compound was designed to be fatal within 72 hours. It has been in every documented case. 18 confirmed exposures over 3 years of testing. 18 fatalities." 18? Your team were number 14 through 17. The number sat between you like something physical. "And me? Exposure number 18. She looked at her hands. "You should have died. The science says you should have died. Your immune response, what you produced, has no documented precedent. Our immunologists have been studying your blood for months. What they found—" She slid a document across. You looked at it. "Plasma compound, subject 18, full spectrum neutralization confirmed. Potential applications, mass casualty countermeasure. Estimated lives protected if deployed. Redacted, see Appendix C." "How many?" you asked. She was quiet for a moment. "The low estimate," she paused, 60,000. "The high estimate is not a number I'm going to say out loud." You looked at the document for a long time. 60,000, minimum. People with families, with daughters who said Baba like they meant it, with sons who drew pictures, with wives who cried when cars turned corners. And your blood, the blood running through you right now, was the only thing standing between those people and that outcome. Why are you telling me this now? "Because," Meridian said, "the extraction is complete. We have what we need. Enough plasma for manufacturing, enough to start production. So you don't need me anymore." "No, we don't." She placed 2 folders on the table. This one, she touched, the left folder, contains your identity restoration documents. New name, new history, protected relocation for you and your family. Sarah, your son, Lila. Your throat tightened at her name. And the other? An offer, voluntary, no coercion. She pulled it back slightly. There are more compounds being developed, more people like the ones you've handled.
The old general was right. Conventional channels can't reach them, but you can. You're asking me to stay. I'm asking you to choose. If I take the left folder, Sarah and the kids, they're safe? Truly safe? On my word. Your word. Yeah, I know what that's worth. You looked at both folders. One led home, one led back into the dark. You thought being declared dead was the worst thing they could do to you. You were wrong. The worst thing is discovering that your death served a purpose, that your erasure, your isolation, your grief, all of it was useful. And then discovering that you agree, that somewhere inside the person they turned you into, there is still something that cannot look away from 60,000 names, from families you'll never meet, from daughters who say Baba like they mean it. I didn't take the left folder. I haven't decided if that makes me a hero or a ghost who hasn't figured out how to disappear yet. Maybe both. Maybe there's no difference anymore. The mission brief arrives tomorrow. New target, new city, new name on a file that doesn't officially exist. And somewhere on a quiet street, in a house I am not allowed to approach, Lila just turned 6. I know because Meridian told me. She thought it would motivate me. She wasn't wrong. If you were in that room, left folder or right, what do you choose? Tell me in the comments. And if this story made you feel something, the channel needs you. Subscribe. The next classified file is already in motion.
The AC is on full blast in here, but I can't stop sweating. I told you at the beginning to feel it, but telling it? Living through those files again? It's a different kind of weight. You just heard what happens when a human being is turned into a ghost. No name, no rights, just a mission that never ends. This is why off-record command exists, because if we don't tell these stories, they stay buried in the dark forever. If this episode moved you, if it made you question what's really going on behind those classified doors, then I need your support. We are building something here, a community that isn't afraid of the truth. Hit that subscribe button, like this video so others can find it, and most importantly, share this with one person who needs to wake up. Your support is the only reason these files stay open. I'm your host, and the mission continues. Stay off record.